Hello, this is Dairid, and welcome to another one of my League of Legends Basics guide. In this guide, I'm going to be talking about the bottom lane, specifically the AD carry in the bottom lane. I'll be giving a quick rundown of things to watch out for and how you more specifically want to play that role in that lane. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about a champion, Ashe, that is very cheap, and it's an effective champion to get if you want to go and play a bot lane champion. As always, you start out with a set amount of gold, and you've got your three basic item options. You can go for Dorans, you can go for boots and some health potions, or you can try to rush an item. You can buy, any of these items that are, under 475 gold and maybe a potion or two. I'll go boots and pots this time, just to switch it up. And also, more specifically on Ashe, the main skill you're going to want to be leveling up first is volley. Like most other champions, you're going to want to at least get a point in all of her skills, as quickly as possible, while leaving priority to volley. Your next skill you'll probably want to get at level 2, or that you'll want to level up secondly, is her Q. That's her frost shot. When that's activated, that basically slows any opponent she hits by a certain percentage. The higher the rank, the more percentage. It's a very good ability, but it's not necessarily your best laning tool, so getting it at a later time isn't the worst thing in the world. And then her third ability is Hawk Shot. The nice thing about that, as a passive, it makes her get a little more gold when she kills, and also she can throw, on a pretty long cooldown, she can throw something out there that'll let her see an area. Lets her, know if a target's coming into her lane and try to gank or anything like that. And I have bots in here just so I can, focus on talking about the basics and not have to worry about, maybe potentially ruining someone else's game because I'm not paying full attention. So usually you're going to have a support down here with you. This person is not really a support, that's an assist. Someone like Tarek is more of a support that they have in their lane. And this lane is a little tricky if you're playing with people you don't know, because there's a lot of communication that goes on in this lane. You really want to have you and your support really need to kind of be more or less in sync, or that's how you get your best results. And if you are just randos and you don't know each other, you may or may not get in sync. So I hit level 2, I'm going to get my Q. The way this works is it's a toggle ability. So right now it's not doing anything, but if I hit Q, it toggles up, and I hit, and it'll slow them down. Puts a little frost on the ground, lets me know they're slowed. But you have to watch out because it's 8 mana per attack. So if you're just sitting around not paying attention, you leave it on, you'll end up making yourself boom. And a little more detailed on her W. That's volley. You've seen me use it a couple times. It's a very good laning tool mostly because it actually hits pretty hard, and it can you can get your last hits with it. Although I wouldn't recommend it because it's a pretty expensive ability for how low mana an Ashe has. And but it's really nice because number one, it'll apply whatever rank of frost shot you have to the target, and it's pretty wide range, and it's pretty long range. So I can do things like this, and I can poke them. So, and also when I poke them, they slow down. So it's a pretty good ability. That'll be your first one you want to max. You, of course, want to max your ultimate whenever you get the chance. And, you just want to play safe in the lane. Like right now, like I explained in mid lane, I've kind of overextended, and if this wasn't bots, I would probably have a jungler up in my business making my day hell. And also something I forgot to mention, Ashe's passive is focus, and basically your critical strike increases by 3% every 3 seconds while not attacking. So if I'm sitting around here, I've got 11% additional critical strike by just sitting here not attacking. And right now I don't have any additional critical strike, so it's really like I just have a 20%, and the second I attack, that goes away. And so, it's kind of a tricky one to use. See, I waited around, I had a 50%, I hit him a little harder. I'm not a really great Ashe player by any means, and so I don't really use her. I don't know if there's a better or worse way to use her passive, but it's pretty handy because basically if you leave lane and you come back, you'll get an automatic crit when you come back. And if like in situations like this where I can't be up last hitting, I'm at least building up this, that way I've got a good chance of when I next hit him, it'll crit. And I did level my third ability when I got the opportunity, and it's Hawk Shot. I'll show you how it works. For instance, if I believed they're about to mess around at Dragon and we don't have any coverage there, I can send my Hawk there, and See, it'll kind of give me vision of where it goes. Let me know if anyone's coming up trying to mess with Dragon. It's got a minute cooldown, so it's a very nice ability, but again, it's not the most practical. But, you know, it's good if you know when to use it and when not to, which, as a new player, you may or may not know that. But again, it's still a pretty good ability. And again, you know, you want to kind of play, you don't want to be too aggressive, but you want to go in for kills when you can get the kills. Like right there, I can get the kill. And the same rule applies. If you get in the lane, get an advantage, you want to push it. See, right now it's a 1v1, and I can just take her down. And also remember, after you use your Q, you want to disable it. That way you don't drain your mana. And I just killed the 2, and so the rule applies. I'm going to want to try to push this lane if I can. Being that it's so close by, I might not be able to, but I would do at least want to push it out enough that I could safely go home and buy and come back and not have the creeps up at the tower. Because if the creeps are up at your tower, you're losing a lot of XP and a lot of gold. So you, for the most part, you want to try to avoid that. And, you know, I also, usually you'd have someone in here that is sticking around you and they would help you push out the lane. And I just got her ultimate. It is a global ultimate, meaning it will go, when I send it in a direction, it'll keep going the direction until it hits a champion or until it flies off the map. It's a very powerful tool. Not that many champions have global ultimates, and hers is especially nice because it's global and it stuns the champion that it hits. So once here, I'll just back and I'll get enough mana and I'll show you how it works. I'm not gonna the way I'm gonna do it is not how you want to do it. I'm just showing it so you can see how it works. All right, see, I see down middle lane. There's a Lux just sitting there. I can throw my arrow straight down middle lane. Hopefully it'll hit. Goes down, and bam, hits her all the way across the map, and it stuns her. So you can, if you're really good with the aim, which I am not, you can do things like if you see they're ganking top, you can send your arrow all the way top, and you can stop the gank, or you know, you can let the person escape, or you can let the person, you know, get a kill. Really good Ashes are really good with their arrow, and unfortunately it's not very quick moving, so if people have good reaction times, they can do things like dash away from it, they can dodge it, but it's a very useful tool. And that's her main kit, and those are the basics of the bottom lane. The bottom lane is pretty basic. There's really not too much in the way of, I mean, it's pretty much just you want to try to out-farm and potentially kill your group mates. The biggest challenge of it is if you're with someone that you don't know, you don't necessarily know how you're, like if you're the AD carry, you don't necessarily know how the support's going to want to play. If they're going to want to play really aggressive, you know, they can go up there and they can get themselves killed and they can start bickering. But, you know, you want to potentially communicate with your lane mate, tell them, hey, I'm going to, you know, I'm playing this champion and I want to play a little more passively, or I'm going to try to go aggressively, you know, follow my lead. But, you know, you want to try to communicate, but realize that sometimes it just won't happen, and, you know, got to have kind of a thick skin if you're going to play this game, because people don't like to lose, and when they lose, they want to blame everyone but themselves. Those are the basics of the bottom lane, and a little bit of the basics of Ashe. She is a pretty effective champion. I mean, there are better champions that do her role in general, but she's by no means a bad champion, and she is very cheap. You could play the game for, you know, 2 hours, and you probably would have enough resources to buy her outright. And I would recommend her for anyone that's wanting to try an attack damage carry, and, you know, is fairly new to the game. I'd recommend Ashe because she's pretty stereotypical, and if you play her, you'll kind of get the way most of the AD carries for the most part play. That'll be all, and remember, rate, subscribe, etc.